If you're experiencing political whiplash right now, don't worry, you are not alone. Over the course of the past 8 days alone, one candidate running for president survived an assassination attempt at a campaign rally, and the other, the sitting president, has now officially dropped out of the race altogether. We have entered the stranger-than-fiction era of the campaign cycle, and we'll guide you through it as best we can. Let's start with where we are today. The now presumptive Democratic nominee, Vice President Kamala Harris, has just arrived in Wilmington, Delaware. It comes on the heels of raising more than $80 million in just the past 24 hours since Biden left the race.
At the Democratic campaign headquarters in Wilmington, Delaware, staffers heard from President Biden for the first time since he dropped out of the race.
And I want to say to the team, embrace her. She's the best.
Then the emotional and energized crowd heard from Vice President Harris in her debut as the campaign's ticket topper.
And I know it's been a roller coaster, and we're all filled with so many mixed emotions about this. I just have to say, I love Joe Biden. I love Joe Biden, and I know we all do, and we have so many darn good reasons for loving Joe Biden. And I have full faith that this team will be the reason we win in November.
Harris is already a money machine. Groups backing her have raised $81 million since yesterday, setting a record for the most raised by a presidential candidate in 24 hours, according to her campaign. That's on top of another $150 million generated by Democratic PAC Future Forward, which also came flooding in after Biden's announcement to step aside. Along with cash, high-profile endorsements are pouring in from powerful congressional leaders Nancy Pelosi and Jim Clyburn, the Clintons, and several Democratic governors who could end up as Harris's running mate. On the list of those staying neutral for now, the Obamas, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. So far, no one has said they will challenge Harris. Late Sunday, Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia said he was considering a run, but that changed by the time he appeared on CBS Mornings today.
First of all, let me make it very clear to you, Tony, I am not going to be a candidate for president.
Harris is expected to focus on her experience as a former prosecutor who stands up to fraudsters and criminals. Donald Trump is a convicted felon, according to a new campaign message. Republicans blame Harris for the influx of migrants at the southern border and claim she is weak on crime. They have unleashed the first TV ad targeting her.
Kamala knew Joe couldn't do the job.
Today, GOP vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance argued it was Democrats who are a threat to democracy.
My message to Democrats who are disgusted by this process, disgusted by how anti-democratic it is, you are welcome in the Republican Party, where we think we should persuade voters and not lie to voters. Come on in, the water's warm.
And let's bring in Bob Costa. Bob, we mentioned $80 million raised since over the past 24 hours. I mean, we've been reporting about how Democrats were really concerned about fundraising if Biden were to stay in the race. I mean, this seems like a significant amount of money.
It's money, but the question is she bringing the party together? So yeah. She has grassroots support, which is going to be very powerful to compete against former President Trump's campaign, but she still has some work to do ahead of the convention. It's not just about a VP pick. She knows, based on my conversations with top Democrats, that this can't seem like a coronation, politically speaking, that she has to, in her words, earn the nomination and show that she's bringing in all the different factions. And it's complicated because the progressive wing wants to make sure they feel included, that it's not just about putting a perceived centrist on the ticket. And so the money's coming in. Democrats are feeling good. But it's also a sensitive time because President Biden is still president. Yeah. And he's still someone who has not spoken publicly since the decision. Yeah. It was a painful decision for him. Yeah. So, yes, the money's pouring in. Yes, Democrats feel good. But it's a complicated time.
Complicated, historic. I mean, I almost can't believe we're covering all of this right now. And we were, just a few days ago covering Donald Trump picking his running mate. Now we are all waiting to see who presumably Kamala Harris chooses as her running mate. Can you give us a sense of kind of the names being tossed around and kind of politically speaking, what a Kamala Harris presidency might be, or nomination, I should say, might be looking for in a running mate?
There's a real debate among my Democratic sources about whether this even matters. Is it an inside parlor game in Washington? Because the election's now about Vice President Harris if she's the nominee and Trump. Is anyone going to now vote for Donald Trump because J.D. Vance is on the ticket? Maybe. But the Republicans were already positioned to win Ohio. He's maybe going to help in the industrial Midwest, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. But for the Democrats, the same challenge remained, which is, does the vice presidential pick really add political capital to the ticket? It's uncertain at this point, because even if you put Governor Cooper of North Carolina, who's very presentable, he's seen as a strong politician, appealing, or you put the younger governor, Andy Beshear, from Kentucky on the ticket. Yes, you bring the South onto the national ticket. But does someone suddenly say they're going to now vote for the Democratic ticket because the vice presidential nominee is someone from the South and more centrist? Vice President Harris is the issue. Former President Trump is the issue. So they want to do no harm with the pick more than making some kind of chess move politically that's, we're now going to play in the South. Now, you and I, we've spent a lot of time in Georgia. Now, picking someone from the South could be very helpful, maybe, in having some Southern appeal for the ticket, especially with someone from California atop. But at the same time, this is about not having a Thomas Eagleton situation. In 1972, the Democratic nominee, George McGovern, picks Tom Eagleton to be on the ticket, and then he flames out. He has to leave the ticket. They have to put Sergeant Shriver on at the last minute to be the nominee because they didn't properly vet Eagleton. And that's infamous in American politics, as how you make a mistake. The Democrats' real problem now, they have Covington and Burling, a big D.C. law firm doing the vetting. Does Covington and Burling, along with the Harris team, really vet these people? Because, yes, if you're a governor right now, you get some scrutiny, but we all know the local press across the country has been diminished, unfortunately, because of lack of advertising. So are these people really going to handle it under the spotlight? That matters more for Vice President Harris, I'm told, than any kind of political calculation.
Especially with such a crunch time in terms of the calendar here. And then just very quickly, I know you spoke to Donald Trump yesterday by phone. We're talking about how this scrambles things for the Democrats. It also scrambles some things for Republicans as well.
Well, he said it didn't. I mean, it's notable when I pushed him on, well, how does this change the race? He said it doesn't change the race. I said, well, what do you mean by that? He said, I'm running against the Biden record. So he believes he can just take all of his ammunition politically and put it towards Vice President Harris's case and say that she doesn't have an effective record to run on. And you're looking there, he's going after the, he calls her, well, does not call her intelligent in that post. And he called President Biden the worst president in our conversation. He was critical of Harris in her handling of the issue of immigration and the border. So we're looking at a situation, I was discussing this with Republicans and Democrats yesterday. It's going to be a political battle, brutal.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, what the Democrats don't fully, I think, recognize as I'm making the phone calls is that I've covered Donald Trump very closely since really 2010, 2011, started talking to him a lot. Trump is going to go places personally, already going on the issue of intelligence. There's the possibility of gender, other issues being brought up in a way that's visceral, brutal, raw, cruel. It's all coming. And for now, they're getting a lot of money. They're feeling good. But what's President Biden's role going to be? Is he going to speak up in a forceful way? He's given a statement. His Oval Office address, if he makes one, will be closely watched. But this is going to be such a knockout, drag-out fight for Vice President Harris. I mean, think about, we covered 2016 together. Senator Rubio, Senator Cruz, how their careers have been affected by going up against Donald Trump.
I mean, and I was covering the rally that Trump had in Michigan on Saturday night, just 1 week after the assassination attempt, and there has been no change in Donald Trump's rhetoric, his message, his demeanor. It is the same Trump as he's always been, and that's something to watch going forward. We will keep an eye on all of it. We don't know what the next day or so brings, but as you always say,
we don't know what the next hour brings.
Assume nothing, as you always say. So we will stay tuned. Thank you, Bob, very much.